Season 2 of War Within is really hard. We can call it what it is. It's very hard. And a lot of you guys have been asking me, reaching out with questions about how I deal with certain bosses this season. So I thought let's make this video where I talk through some of the harder bosses of the season and how I deal with them and heal through them as a Mistweaver. Now, I'm not going to get to all of the bosses in one video. This could be an ongoing series, so let me know down in the comments below any bosses that I don't get to cover in this video. But I did reach out to you guys through my Discord, and you guys were giving me a response of some of the bosses that you're having the most trouble with. So I thought let's first start off with the Candle King. Now, the Candle King is hard because it's a heavy rot fight. If I play this, you're going to see everyone is just constantly ticking for damage. So the trick to this boss is just like what we had in Halls of Infusion back in Season 3 of Dragonflight, where you as the healer need to be used to or okay with having health bars sit around 80 to 60%. Most of the mechanics in this fight aren't going to do enough damage to one-shot a 60% health bar ally. So what you as the healer needs to do is learn how to manage your cooldowns. So you'll notice here when I'm not using cooldowns, look at how many enveloping mists I have around. Every time that I have to run out the hook or whatever he throws at the candles that you're supposed to block with a candle, I spread my soothing mist. I also try to use Peer into Peace in this dungeon. You don't need it, but if you don't have it, I also just cast enveloping mist one by one on all of the squishies. I usually don't do the tank, but all four of us other people, I put an enveloping mist on, and then Rising Sun Kick with Thunder Focus Tea to double extend those enveloping mists. Having that powerful hot on your allies makes the rot damage a lot easier to combat. And then you'll see once those enveloping mists fall off, we do start to kind of slow down. We start to fall low, and that's when I pop one of my cooldowns. There it was Revival, and now I'm going to reapply all of these hots and just go again, rinse and repeat. So during the downtime, we apply our enveloping mists, and then you'll see that hot is just ticking on me. And then once I'm ready to pop cooldown, pop cooldown. But you try to stagger your cooldowns. You don't want to pop like Revival and Shaylin's Gift right one after another. You try to get relaxed with people's health bar dipping a little bit lower than normal, and then you should be good. And yeah, the rot damage is associated with those candle figures, and then now there's like less damage, and now he summons them again, so I know the rot damage is coming again. So here I am, soothing misting, applying all of those hots again, then I extend them with a Rising Sun Kick. Now everyone has that powerful hot ticking into them, that powerful healing modifier, and then I Shayloons, and then I wait a bit, let my hots do their healing until people start to drop low again, and then I'm going to Crackling Jade Lightning. So you just layer in your cooldowns and then fill in the gaps between your cooldowns with spreading enveloping mist. Don't doubt the power of enveloping mist during these rot fights. Next up, we teleport into Cinderbrew Meadery into Brewmaster Aldryr, the first boss in this dungeon. He is very difficult, especially as those keys scale up, and he really has two mechanics that are terrifying as the healer. One is the dot that he puts on two of your allies. Luckily, us Mistweavers are very good at healing powerful dots on, low target counts. And then he has that intermission phase. So every now and then he's going to throw that Cinderbrew. It's going to apply that dot on two of your allies. You see it goes on me, it goes on the shaman. And here, so we have a few cooldowns. So what I like to do to deal with this is number one, the only cooldown that I usually commit to this ability, the only two, are Life Cocoon. Like maybe I'll Life Cocoon one person to isolate and to shut off basically that dot. And then I'll Soothing Mist and heal the second person. Or I use Crackling Jade Lightning, because Crackling Jade Lightning heals through Ancient Teachings. And Ancient Teachings does 190% if you have Jadefire Teachings of its damage spread among your allies that need healing. So if only two allies, or in this case the tank is also missing health, but everyone's going to get a third of that damage as healing, it's going to take for a lot. So that's a way to combat that dot with a powerful heal over time effect, which is our Crackling Jade Lightning. So those are the two cooldowns that I use to deal with the dot. But for the most part, if it goes on me, I always pop a defensive. You see there, I popped a defensive, and I expel harmed myself, and then I do my best to just Soothing Mist. I will not punch and kick the boss during this part because I really just want to keep us two alive. That's literally the mechanic during this downtime. And if you are running Peer into Peace, which I think is a good choice for this dungeon, if you want to have it for Aldryr, it's fine. It can allow you to kind of bounce back and forth between these two health bars. But you see here, I have two people low. I'm gonna Life Cocoon one, and then isolate and soothing mist the other one. And now the big damage mechanic of this phase is his happy hour. Now, happy hour is scary, but one, it's pretty reliant on your group doing it quickly. But two, as the healer, you can sit in the middle if you really want to. If you're okay with doing this and slowing the phase down, you can sit in the middle and just apply your hots. Treat that rot damage with your hot healing, you know? And the reason why I say sit in the middle is just because people are going to be running to your left, to your back right, they're going to be running forward. So it's better to stay centralized in the room so you can heal all of them. Once again, in this VOD, I do have Pure into Peace, but it is 100% not necessary. And if you're running Master of Harmony, I like to just use my Master of Harmony hot during this phase as well. Everyone's going to be taking ticking damage, so you're going to use it mostly during this phase. And you see no one is taking like any damage. This is a plus 13, and it was not even a threatening situation. I even have Shayloon's Gift on standby, did not even need it. So don't be afraid to sit in the middle, and if you're not running Pure to Peace, don't be afraid to sit there and Enveloping Mist one by one each of your allies, and then go back through with some Vivifies. You can even run up to the boss and Rising Sun Kick to extend those Enveloping Mist if you think that phase is going to go on longer. And then as the boss develops, now that we're later in the fight, I will now start committing like something like Chi-Ji to deal with the double dot, because Chi-Ji, I like to use it during this phase, this hard phase, instead of the intermission where, you're not connecting to the boss, so there's no really way to heal off of the boss. And you see there I popped a defensive for myself and had Expel Harm ready, so defensive plus Expel Harm for myself, and then just Soothing Misted the other person. So really isolating those 2 health bars, trying to shut one off with your single target healing, and then that way you get to Life Cocoon the other one, or vice versa. Really makes this phase easier. And you see here the 2 dots go out. Chi-Ji works very well versus those 2 dots as well, because all of those mastery procs are going to hit those 2 allies. All right, next up we have Floodgate. This one I'm going to spend a bit more time in because I've gotten even more questions and more requests from you guys about Floodgate. So starting off with Swampface, I'm sorry. He did just get nerfed. The initial tick of his dot doesn't hit as hard, I think is what they changed, or something like that. But the way that this fight works is he has his downtime and then his pound time. That's what I call it, the downtime versus the pound time. During the downtime, I really heavily rely on my Enveloping Mist. Once again, this is another rot phase, the downtime is, because he's going to pick 4 of you and connect you together, and those 4 people are going to have a heavy dot ticking on them. That connection is a dot. And one thing to note is while he's doing his pound phase, that's when you have that dot still, but you also have more ticking damage on top of that you have to heal through. That is where you want to stack your cooldowns, but be very careful, because some of your cooldowns require you to be stationary, like casting a Shayloon's Gift or channeling a Crackling Jade Lightning, for example. So I like to I never stack Chi-Ji plus Revival, because both of those are my options to heal on the move. So what I do is I pair both of those cooldowns with a cooldown that can be cast stationary. So maybe I put a Crackling Jade Lightning channel after my Chi-Ji ends during the pound time, or I put like Revival plus Shayloon's plus Crackling Jade Lightning for the next one, and alternate those 2 cycles of abilities. But for this downtime, I feel like a lot of people struggle with it because they're just relying on your maintenance healing from your punching and kicking. But do not doubt the power of Enveloping Mist. You see that right there on pull, before we even pull the boss, I applied a couple of Enveloping Mists, and now you see that dot goes out on 4 of my allies. So before I have to move, I put 1 Enveloping Mist down, and then we move to the side, and then I'm going to put more Enveloping Mist down. And here, once again, I am running Pure into Peace, but it is definitely not necessary. So now all 4 of us squishies have an Enveloping Mist. Yeah, I put 1 on myself instead of the tank. It's a tank. He'll be okay. But then once my Rising Sun Kick comes off again, I'm going to extend them. And now we are in the pound time. I have every cooldown available. So this is all about stacking your cooldowns properly. So I pop Chi-Ji and Life Cocoon, and I guess those are the 2 cooldowns that I'm going to use for this phase. And just dodging those waves. See, I always like to have 1 mobile option plus 1 immobile option. You see there, Chi-Ji is plenty enough to basically solo heal that phase, even coming in with someone or 2 people at half health. So Chi-Ji is powerful, but if I wanted to say the next phase happens, which we can get to, once again, the dot comes out, we're going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to get to safety, and then I'm going to plant and channel cast these Enveloping Mists on people. Oh, am I not going to? Nope. We are Crackling Jade Lightning. What am I doing? Okay, here we go. Here we go. So now we're coming into the phase. The 3 squishies that have the dot on them have Enveloping Mist on them. There we go. I cast Shayloon's Gift when I know I was safe, and I have Revival for backup, but literally Shayloon's Gift plus those Enveloping Mist is enough, because that healing amplification of Enveloping Mist stacked on top of how much healing Shayloon's Gift does, it is plenty enough. And then this is another mechanic that can get a little scary, is your sludge wave or whatever it is that hits the tank. Usually I like to have my Soothing Mist primed and ready for them so that they get that Elusive Mist, tiny little bit of mitigation as well. But just rinse and repeat. This dot comes out, I Envelop Mist all 4 of those allies, I Rising Sun Kick to extend it, Rising Sun Kick to extend it further, and then now they are healed this whole phase. I can just keep doing my basic rotation of Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, and now once we get into pound time, we're going to pop another cooldown, which is likely going to be Chi-Ji after this Crackling Jade Lightning. Come on, if I know myself, well, I didn't even need it. Crackling Jade Lightning was enough. I had enough spacing there where I was going to Crackling Jade Lightning. So there, you just try to stack cooldowns, have cooldowns ready for the pound time. And in order to be able to do that, you have to really crank those hots out during this downtime. That's how I deal with Swampface. And after a few cycles of this, he goes down. He goes down pretty easy. Once again, just another rot phase, but at least a lot of the rot is stacked on top of each other. So there, once again, Chi-Ji is plenty enough to deal with this healing. Uh-oh, someone drops low. They did get hit, but that is okay. We lose one. You'll lose someone from time to time, but hey, that's why we have two B-reses. We're fine. Let's move on to the final boss, but actually before there, let's get down to Bubbles, because you guys were asking me about Bubbles, so let's skip ahead, because Bubbles is a boss in himself. He is terrifying. But he really only has one mechanic that you need to have a cooldown ready for, and that is his backwash. So you see here, one blanket tip for you guys: if you are not using Bigwigs or DBM or some way to tell you how much time you have before mechanics, you are really lacking information. As a healer, it helps you so much being able to pre-apply hots, plan your cooldowns. You need to know when mechanics are coming. So here, as a healer, I drop my bubbles, and then I immediately look as I move out of my bubbles at how long I have until backwash. And we treat backwash the exact same way. We can either Chi-Ji it, or we can stack Enveloping Mist on everyone, Rising Sun Kick to extend them, and then right once that backwash starts, we can like use one of our other cooldowns like Shayloon's or Crackling Jade Lightning or something. So you see here, backwash starts. It is a lot of damage over a long period of time. Do y'all know what cooldown we have that deals with that? Yes, Chi-Ji. Chi-Ji is the best way. There, I kind of dropped it a little bit late because I didn't think I'd have to use it, because this was my first time trying a 12, so I did panic and Crackling Jade Lightning, but Chi-Ji would have cleaned that up if I would have just had a Blackout Kick stacked, and we would have been totally fine. But every time that backwash comes down, you want to stack 1, even 2 cooldowns on top of each other, and that's literally it. And you just dodge, drop his bubbles, try to stay as compact as possible. Even if you're in a pug group and they aren't like smart enough to know to stack up and drop your bubbles, try to stand next to one person at least to limit how many bubbles are everywhere. And then backwash starts again, so I Shayloon's Gift, and then I start Soothing Misting and pair it with a Life Cocoon. I was ready with that Life Cocoon. And there, see, we have so much time after the backwash to heal people up, so I'm not going to use any cooldowns during this downtime. I'm just waiting for the next backwash, which is about to start now. I don't really have too much, but I do have Crackling Jade Lightning. And yeah, Crackling Jade Lightning plus, usually plus something is enough to get it done, but there we have Crackling Jade Lightning plus stack 2 of Crackling Jade Lightning. So usually, like I said, you either Chi-Ji or use 2 other cooldowns to tackle that backwash, and you just cycle it just like a boss mechanic. And speaking of boss mechanics, let's fast forward to Geezle Gigazap. Now, when thinking about Geezle Gigazap, he's a very tough boss to heal, but part of what makes him hard is the pull that you do right before him. It's this double jump starter pull right before you pull this guy. So as a healer, it's hard to have all of your cooldowns ready and available for Geezle Gigazap. So I purposefully picked a VOD where I don't have my cooldowns. You'll notice I have Revival and Chi-Ji are off cooldown. Those are 2 of our biggest cooldowns. Chi-Ji is our biggest cooldown. And the reason why that's important to note is because As soon as you pull Geezle Gigazap, he's going to do his big AoE pulsing damage phase. And as a healer, you need to heal through that. And also note that this is once again another AoE pulsing mechanic that requires movement during it. So it's not always 100% reliable to just plan to use like a single Sheilun's Gift or a single Crackling Jade Lightning to heal through that. So, ideally, if you can get away with saving Chi-Ji toward the end of this last pool, then you're fighting Geezle on easy mode. Because those pounds, this first pound happens 1 minute apart, and Chi-Ji is perfect for it. But here, once again, this is a pool where I do not have Chi-Ji. What do I have? I have Enveloping Mists, and I have our Crackling Jade Lightning. So let's see how I tackle this first one. And then starting from the second one, I'm going to have my Chi-Ji up for every other one. But just know that normally it's Chi-Ji that deals with this mechanic solely for me. I just Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick. But here he's going to start his big turbo charge. I also notably have Thunderfolk's Tea, but apparently I used it on healing there, or on damage there. So we have 2 charges of Crackling Jade Lightning. So you need to dodge 1, plant Sheilun's Gift. It didn't go on me. It didn't put anything under me. So I just do a Crackling Jade Lightning. And here, this phase is already over. So I guess I can go back in time. I just wait till 1 line appears. I get to safety and try to get a cast off before a line appears underneath me. And this VOD, I did get lucky and nothing appeared under me in this little wind up, I guess. But yeah, you just pair, once again, either Chi-Ji for this mechanic or 2 other spells for this mechanic. Ideally, you have Chi-Ji available for the start of this pool, so you can just use Chi-Ji every time he does that, starting with the first one. But why is that good? Why is it good to use Chi-Ji during that big AoE pulsing phase? Well, it's because your other cooldowns are very good for the other mechanics in this fight. Now, this fight has a very simple rotation of abilities. He is going to do that big AoE pulse every time on pool. And you have Chi-Ji, or once again, 2 mechanics for that, or 2 cooldowns for that. And then he's going to do, after a few seconds, he's going to cast Thunder Punch on your tank. So I am watching this timer and I see Thunder Punch is coming in 2 seconds. I almost always Soothing Mist and Enveloping Mist my tank before that damage comes in. And then right once it hits, I Vivify. So 1, not only are you giving them that Elusive Mist tankiness, but 2, you are making their life easier because they have a giant hot on them, and your Vivify is going to chunk into them, and boom. That is basically a non-mechanic. If you do that every time, the moment he starts casting that Thunder Punch, you just Soothing Mist your tank, Enveloping Mist, and then that hits, and you Vivify. Every time, they will be safe. And then here, this is the other mechanic. This is very similar to the Cinderbrew boss, where 2 people are going to get a dot. If it's on me, I always defensive. Here I might not, because I have Expel Harm. I think I'm okay, and I have double Crackling Jade Lightning, but I almost always defensive this if it's on me. Or, once again, you can isolate one of the health bars with Life Cocoon, and then just spam heals with Soothing Mist into the other one. Or if you're running Peer into Piece, if you took Peer into Piece to deal with Swampface, you can use that to kind of pogo between the health bars. But let's see how I deal with this. They take it first, so I Soothing Mist, heal them up a bit, and then I did pop my Diffuse Magic. You can't see it because the stupid Windows UI is covering it, but I popped my defensive to say, hey, I am okay, I will survive this. I just need to heal this other person through this, especially because I see they don't have a defensive. So I am spam healing into the one person, and I shut off my own dot basically with my defensive. So here we have Leaping Sparks, and this might be the one where I got bugged, but here I just always run out, but just beware. Because right once your Spark is jumping into the puddle, your tank is about to get Thunder Punched. I always think that. Whenever I roll out, I am ready to Soothing Mist my tank. And it's fine to take a far one, even as a Mistweaver, because you're just going to be able to Soothing Mist your tank anyways. So here I always go to a far one, just make it as easy as possible on my group. And then as soon as mine jumps into the puddle, I get ready to heal my tank. Boom, Soothing Mist. He gets Thunder Punched. He's totally fine. He doesn't need that because he's a Giga Chad tank apparently, but still, then once again, he does that cycle again. Heal up these 2 people, and we're right back at it. And since I didn't use Chi-Ji that whole little intermission phase, now that he's turbocharged again, we have Chi-Ji. Chi-Ji laughs at this mechanic because it allows us to move and heal. And then also your kicks come out, your blackout kicks hit basically every pulse. So Tiger Palm, blackout kick. Tiger Palm, blackout kick. Occasionally I'll use that Enveloping Mist if I want more healing in the long term, or if the timing messes up with my kick sync. But other than that, that's the entire fight. Thunder Punch comes out, Soothing Mist the tank. There I knew he was okay because he had an Enveloping Mist on him. He's fine. And then heal these two people. You can use, I don't need to be Soothing Misting here. This is a crutch. This is why Peer into Peace, the theory behind it is that it's kind of a bad idea because you fall onto it too much. Here I can literally just Crackling Jade Lightning for the same reason as the Cinderbrew boss, where you're Crackling Jade Lightning, if it's only healing into 2 health bars, they are both getting 1,000 and 250% of a Crackling Jade Lightning's damage worth of healing times 1.9. So they're getting so much healing since it's just us 2 missing health. So I should have just Crackling Jade Lightning because this is a very easy time to Crackling Jade Lightning. But here, I see that we're so fine on time. No one's in risk of dying, so I think I'm just going to use them for damage. And once again, Thunder Punch is about to come on the tank. Getting ready to Soothing Mist him, Enveloping Mist. Vivify is so okay. Gigazap on those two people, I have it indicated who's getting it, so I Enveloping Mist them both, and I Pogo between, ready with my Revival, with my Crackling Jade Lightning, my Shayloons. See, this boss is hard, but you see just how little I'm having to use because I'm understanding the mechanics and how to use my tools to deal with them. And then once again, Turbocharge comes in. This is the final one. I'm not going to show you the rest of the fight. We Shayloons to start it, then I pop Chi-Ji, and it's super easy there because I use 2 cooldowns, but normally Chi-Ji is plenty enough. I even have Revival for backup if I want to, and boom, everyone's safe. So let's move on to the next boss, the final one of this video. But once again, let me know in the comments below any bosses that you want me to cover in a second follow-up video to this video. All right, the final boss that we're going to talk about is actually the second to last boss in Priory. I got a few people that asked me about the final boss in Priory. We'll get to that probably in the next episode if you guys want me to. But Baron is causing a lot of people a lot of problems, and rightfully so. One of the big mechanics of this boss forces you off of melee sometimes, which is very scary when our best cooldown requires us to be in melee. So how do I deal with this boss? Well, there are 2 mechanics that do a ton of damage. One is when the big shields drop the giant circles that does big damage. And then 2, this sacrificial pyre does so much damage to your raid. So as a healer, how do I deal with this? Well, for the sacrificial pyre, this is normally where I use my ranged cooldowns. So any cooldowns that I can cast at ranged, this is fantastic for, because these hammers, as you can see here, if the tank doesn't do a big enough move, those hammers just get in the way. I don't want to chance it and rely on Chi-Ji and then realize before it's too late that that is a big mistake. So you'll see me here, this guy's moving out to, I guess the tank is moving out to the pyre to deal with that, to soak it all. And this is when I use my Crackling Jade Lightnings, my Shayloons, and boom, here's Crackling Jade Lightning number 1, Crackling Jade Lightning number 2, and then here come the big smacks, and we're fine. Now I am just healing the dotted people, the people that did soak the pyre, and that's basically the fight, but it does amp up as we go on. You'll have to commit more cooldowns each time, and as you go on, if you are Master of Harmony, you'll see that sometimes I do use it for a hot for that mechanic because the healing is that intense. So we're going through the fight, we're stacking up, stacking in melee, or at least stacking on someone to bait hammer drops. Think about it like this, the easier that these are to dodge, the less of the room that these take up, the more free you are to use your Chi-Ji in a pinch if you need to. So we drop our hammers, and then we're going to do a big move, follow the tank. I just move off of them, but I'm just ready to move wherever the tank puts us. And here during this downtime, there's no damage coming out. I'm using this time to cast my Renewing Mist. Nowadays, I'll cast Enveloping Mist on everyone as well. But we're using this downtime to get as much damage as possible, store up some resources like our Thunder Focus Tea, our Vitality, our cooldowns, trying to get some Crackling Jade Lightning charges back. And then here we're about to get the pyre again. And the way that they wanted to do this pyre is the same few people were tanking like every time. So they were getting a heavy dot, which did end up making it easier for me to heal because I had less people to heal. But you see there, I am just healing through that initial burst of damage. Then I'm swapping to the 2 people that have the dot. So this is kind of like a combo of the last few bosses that we've talked about, where there's 2 that you have single target healing mixed with AoE healing. This is all of that smashed together in one mechanic, and then that's basically the fight. We want to save our mobility out of these hammers. We don't want to roll out of these hammers because we need our mobility for this Vindictive Wrath, or not the Vindictive Wrath, the Cascader Shield. So here I use my roll so that I move quickly and then I'm able to heal in an instant. Then here I am just getting ready, using as little as possible during that downtime. For this pyre, I have so much charged up. You want to have a cooldown ready. Here I'm using Chi because the hammers are not in my way. I take care of that kick, but Chi plus revival backup is plenty. We are going to probably life cocoon the tank, but no, we're just going to single target heal the tank since he soaked 3 out of the 4 and makes it very easy there. We rolled it into the circles, but here I'm just doing the same thing. Taking all of the time I need to heal through these dots, make sure they are as safe as possible, and then during this downtime, I'm pulling up resources. I'm trying to have my hot spread. I'm trying to Rising Sun Kick as much as possible during this downtime, so that when this pyre happens, there are more hots, more healing amplifiers on people. Oh, we got an ad on my own video. Oh god, free advertisement. Okay, sorry, I'm having to watch my own VOD on YouTube because I don't have this video saved. Hammer comes out, we stack, we move. It looks like we're probably just going to skip this last one. But yeah, the same thing over and over. You want to use the downtime to pool up resources for the big mechanic, which is the pyre, and save your mobility to move out of the shield because it is very scary. And that fight goes down with enough practice. But once again, that does require some coordination. Just be ready with some extra charges of Jade Empowerment. Be ready with your Shayloon's Gift in case someone's chaotic with the hammer drops. You need to roll out to Narnia. But yeah, this boss is very tough. You want to follow up an AoE spell like Shayloon's or Revival with a single target heal like Soothing Mist into the people that pop the pyre. So yeah, that boss is very hard, but don't feel bad about using your defensives during the pyre pops. It is very big damage, and it makes the fight so much easier. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully this helps. I'll try to edit in some things to kind of help you follow along as well. But yeah, this video obviously took so much time to make because I've been playing nonstop all of these 12s and 13s, trying to get some IO for you guys to gain some respect, put some respect on Mistweaver's name. But guys, thank you so much for all the support this season. Most of these VODs were filmed on stream or like right after I streamed when I was still in the game and mood. But if you want to catch these videos live, if you want to see how I handle some of the other bosses live and don't want to wait for the part 2 to this video, check out my stream. I stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 1 p.m. Central Time on Twitch and on YouTube. So whichever platform you like, pick one, come hang out. It's a ton of fun. But guys, thank you for the support. Make sure you're subbed, you like the video on your way out, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care, guys.